Hello, Patriots. There's not many weeks left to get it right on the elections before midterm elections. And if your intent is to restore integrity and security to the elections, there are actions you can take, and this video is to help you understand what you can do. First thing to know is that election integrity is a state duty per the Constitution. We can fuss and think that the federal government's going to get this under control. They're not. What you want to do is use the site that's shown on the bottom of the screen here and go determine who your state representatives are. It'll tell you who your federal representatives are as well. But the focus and emphasis has to be on your state representatives. They all have websites with forms where you can send them messages, send a message and to demand to know what they are doing publicly to ensure election integrity. Whether they're liberal or conservative, this message needs to go out. If you don't hear from them, or your indication from the news or whatever is that they're doing nothing or they're opposing election reform, then ask which reps are in your message. Which reps seem to care, or do some research and find out which representatives in your states care. An important thing to realize is that election bills, like all bills, often just die in what's called in committee. And in committee means that a committee comes together and they look at the bills and decide what's going to be moved forward for a vote to the legislature and on to the or legislatures and on to the governor. Most bills, and particularly election bills, die in committee. So the question you need to ask are, if your rep cares, or you find out the name of a rep who cares, you want to understand what bills are stalled awaiting a vote or awaiting in committee potentially to die. That's a very important question to ask. Once you know these bill numbers and you've read the bills and understand which ones that make sense and they're not loaded up with other stuff other than election reform, write your representative and demand they support the election reforms and tell them the bill number that you support, that you want their support on. If they hear from enough people, they'll get behind these bills. And this is both conservative and liberal representatives need to hear this. If they don't hear from conservative patriots, they're going to hear from no one but radical left activists, because these folks relentlessly write to these representatives, and it makes it appear that that's the only people who care. If you care, you really want to do this and make sure your voice is heard. Also, ask your friends in your state, use your email, use your social media, and ask your friends to do the same. If you want to print small handouts, get people to hand them out. Some of these bills are extraordinarily important in these very few weeks to get election reform in place before the midterm elections. It's essential that we have integrity and secure elections for this midterm, and then the will of the people can be heard. You can do something. It has to be done at the state level. The federal government's not going to fix this. The time to take action is now.